vector. What a vector is basically our three-dimensional axis. You have an x-axis, a y-axis, and a z-axis. X is left to right, and y is up and down. Now z would be back and forth, like so. So x, y, and z axis. So in our code, when we were getting the velocity y, that meant that we were going, and I'll highlight this for you. Velocity y, that meant that we were getting the up axis for that that component, variable, whatever. So next what I'm going to show you is our else if statement. Now what else if statement is pretty simple. Now our if statement, if the condition is met, was equal to check, then do. Our else if statement is, well, we can break it up into two words. So else is basically if something doesn't work, then do something else. So if is if the if statement doesn't work, then you're gonna do something else. So taking into example the if I give you an apple scenario, let's add a third person in there and say, if I give you an apple, then you will say thank you. We can do it where we say, if I do not give you an apple, then Sally gets the apple, and then Sally will say thank you. So instead of this one working, instead of you getting the apple, that's not how you spell you. Instead of you getting the apple, Sally will get it. And that is basically in a nutshell what our if statement is. I mean else if statement. Is if this if statement is not working, the else if statement will kick in. So, I'm gonna erase a bunch of stuff and we're gonna get started. Now for this else if statement, it is actually pretty simple. So in the last block of code, we created the get component dot rigid body 2D dot velocity is assigned to 5, right? Oh, dot velocity dot y was assigned to 5. That's for the if statement. Essentially what this else if statement is going to do is, when we played the game, we were able to go up, but we weren't able to go down. What this else statement will enable us to do is it will enable us to actually go down. So instead of having it go be get component rigid body 2D velocity blah 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 is equal to 5, positive 5, the else statement will be else if statement will be negative 5. And then basically all this other information will remain the same. So an else if statement is pretty much like an if statement, but it just you just change a few variables, a few conditions as needed be. So we're gonna actually do this else if statement now. So else if, we're going to do the input dot get key move down, and we'll need to create another variable for move down, so we'll do var move down is assigned to another key code. and that's just so we can access it. Then inside the curly bracket statement, I'm gonna, for get component, I'm just gonna put in GC, and for rigid body, I'm just gonna put this in, rigid 2D. Actually, no, let me actually put it, right, do it the proper way. Now, later on, you can actually make shortcuts and make variable contain information for rigid body, or even the ability to access the rigid body. Rigid body 2D, and velocity dot y is equal to -5, and then close that statement, and you're done with the else if statement. So the else if statement is basically just flipping the if statement around. So let's go into MonoDevelop and try that out. So we're still in function update because we still want this to activate every frame. So I'm going to go return one line. I'm going to do else if, and the same thing, input dot get key, get component dot rigid body 2D dot velocity dot y is assigned to -1, like so. And then of course I'm going to copy this, and instead of move up, I'm going to put it move down. And make sure, always make sure you match the names of the variables to the letter, and also match everything that I've written here, match it to the exact letter and the exact case of the letter. So if it's uppercase, make sure that if it's uppercase here, make sure it's uppercase in your code, and if it's lowercase, make sure it's lowercase. Coding is actually very, very specific on the way things are written. So literally one mistake, like putting this in lowercase, will cause me to have an error when I go back into Unreal, like this. I mean, not Unreal, Unity, like this. Sorry about that, guys. So that's why case sensitivity is very important. Alright, so now if I save all this stuff and go back into Unity, this error will disappear. And now I have a new variable for move down, and I'm going to make this D. So if I move up, no, I want to make it S, not D. Here we go. Okay, that's acting weird, but I can wait. Cool. So now I can go up and I can go down. Now you guys can't see this, but I'm actually only clicking W and S once, and it keeps going up and down. Now since this is a Pong game where we want to actually be able to control the way our characters are moving, we can't have it just keep going up when we're not actually holding down the button. So we're going to fix that with another script. So to fix that, what we're going to do is, well, not another script, we're going to fix it with another line of code. Now, we talked about our if statement, and let me Now we talked about our if statement, and we talked about our else if statement. But there's a third conditional statement that we also need to address, and that is the else statement. Else by itself. Now with this else statement, it basically takes in the conditions of these two, and it checks to see if either of those worked. If one or the other work, then they will be highlighted. Like this will be highlighted if the if statement works, and the other one, vice versa, for the else statement works. But if neither of these work, or if neither of these are being activated, we want this else statement to kick in for our movement. And what this else statement basically does is, hey, if I'm not pressing this button or activating this if statement or this else if statement, I don't want to do I want to do something different. In our case, we want this to actually stop moving our characters. So the else statement, you do not need to put any parentheses or anything like that, or add in a parameter. The parameter for this else statement is basically if this or this did not work, then the else statement activates. Now you do else, and you do the whole. That's not. Here we go. Sorry. Get component. Rigid body 2D velocity dot y will be equal to 0, and then close that statement. Now the reason it will be equal to 0 because you can't really taking the concept of velocity into the real world. If something has a velocity, that means it's moving. Now, in our case, the velocity is propelling our player up at a speed of 5 or -5. But if we have no velocity, it can't do anything. It can't move. That's essentially what we're doing here. We're telling Unity that if this else statement has been triggered, the character is not moving at all. To do that, we're going to go back into our code, and we're going to do return one line, type in else. We don't need any parameters for that because, or condition for it, because this else statement is basically the condition of these two. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this line because I actually don't feel like typing that in. And we're going to change it from -5 to just be 0. And I'm going to save. So if we press the button to move up, this is going to happen. But otherwise, if we press the button to move down, this is going to happen. But if we're not pressing either of these, it's just not going to do anything. So I'm going to save this by pressing Control S. I'm going to go down here and back to here. And I'm going to just double check. So it should be that when I tap it and stop moving, it stops. Which it does. And now we have some weird movement things that we can easily fix. Let's fix one of those movement things now. Since we're only moving up and down, if you ever see your character moving, like doing something really weird to the left or right, there's a thing called constraints under rigid body. You can constrain the x-axis so it doesn't move in the x-axis. And now when it collides with the object, it's just not going to move like anywhere. It's going to stay where it is. Now there's another fix for that as well, but we'll get into that in a later lesson. Now I want to go over more things with you guys, but sadly we've actually used up a lot of time. Now, because I don't want to overload you, I think now will be the best point to end this tutorial. If you want to assign your player movement to the other character, all you have to do is just click the other character, add that component in, and bada boom, bada bang. And also remember to disable your original script because you made one from scratch and you don't need any of these scripts. In the next lesson, I will show you guys how to make this script function better, or even optimize some things for you with this script. And we'll also start out doing the movement of the ball. We'll either do the movement of the ball or the goal movement. We'll probably touch on both. Next lesson will be kinda short, kinda long. We'll see as we go along. But essentially, that is basically it. I hope you've enjoyed and learned a lot. For this program right here is again Unity, and this is for our retro game design series. This program I was using here was called Photoshop, and Photoshop is a digital painting software, but I kind of used it as a whiteboard because why not? And also, MonoDevelop is our coding API that allows us to code and bring stuff into Unity. So, that's basically it. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.